There are people we can't help but admire, not because they're stronger, smarter, or luckier than us, but because they're calmer. Life can throw chaos, pressure, and pain their way, yet they remain composed, as if there's a still lake inside them, untouched by the storm. Staying calm isn't a gift you're born with. It's a skill, a form of inner discipline. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we all know how hard it is. Some days, we feel cool and collected, like a cucumber, unbothered by the mess around us. But other days, the smallest thing can make us want to fall apart. A message left unread, a careless comment, a minor failure. Any of these can ignite a fire that burns through the patience we've been trying so hard to hold on to. Stoicism teaches us this: focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Staying calm isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about choosing to hold on to reason when your emotions are trying to pull you under. In this video, we'll explore 7 lessons from Stoic philosophy that will help you train your calm so nothing can shake you, not even adversity. Lesson number 1. Focus on what you can control. In this ever-moving and uncertain world, staying calm is no easy feat. Everything around us seems to demand a reaction, a negative comment online, a stranger cutting in line, or a last-minute change of plans. In those moments, it's easy to get swept up in emotion, anger, anxiety, and frustration. But Stoicism doesn't ask you to be emotionless. It asks you to choose where to place your heart and your mind. At its core lies a timeless principle: focus on what you can control. To a Stoic, life is clearly divided into 2 parts: what we can control and what we cannot. This isn't just a philosophical concept. It's a daily compass for how we act. We cannot control what others think, what they say, or how the world will spin. But we can control how we respond. We can control our thoughts, our behavior, and our choices. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. It's not the events themselves that define us, but our response to them." This line captures the essence of Stoicism perfectly. Because if you constantly demand the world to align with your expectations in order to feel at peace, you will be endlessly disappointed. But if you learn to adjust your mindset, to keep steady in the storm, then no external chaos can shake your inner calm. Imagine you're standing in line at the supermarket on a crowded weekend afternoon. A long queue of people stretches ahead, everyone looking tired after a long week of work. In front of you is a difficult customer complaining about prices while endlessly digging through their wallet for discount coupons, making the checkout process drag on longer than usual. The cashier is trying to stay calm, but the tension in the air is obvious. Behind you, a man keeps checking his watch, tapping on his phone, and sighing loudly. You feel the frustration rising up your neck, your grip tightening on the handle of your shopping basket, your mind about to explode. But then you pause. You take a deep breath and remind yourself, I can't control other people, but I can control myself. Instead of sighing, you smile. You pull out your phone and play some soft music or your favorite podcast. You even take a moment to think of 3 things you're grateful for today. You can't change the situation, but you've changed yourself, and that's enough to make a difference. The problem doesn't lie in our circumstances. It lies in the fact that we forget we still have a choice. When we let emotions take over, when we try to control others or expect the world to be fair, we drain our energy on things we cannot change. But when we turn inward, focus on our own power, that's when we start to feel real freedom. Not freedom in action, but freedom in response. A kind of freedom no one can take from you. Stoicism doesn't deny that life can be chaotic. It reminds us that even in chaos, we can remain the calm center. Not by controlling the world, but by controlling ourselves. It's not easy, and that's exactly why it's worth practicing. Because once you master yourself, you are no longer a victim of your circumstances. And when you begin to apply this every day, from how you react to a rude comment to how you face a major life upheaval, you'll realize that calm isn't a gift you stumble upon. It's the result of consistent inner training. So, how do you begin this journey of sustainable self-mastery? The answer lies in self-discipline, the art of managing yourself from within, even when no one is watching. This isn't just a moral virtue. It's a powerful tool that brings you closer to unshakable inner strength. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into practicing self-discipline, the skill that helps you not just stay calm, but actively shape your life the way you want it to be. Lesson number 2. Practice self-discipline. Self-discipline isn't about rigid, self-imposed control. It's the highest form of self-love. In Stoic philosophy, cultivating discipline isn't just about being productive or achieving surface-level success. It's about living a life of order, meaning, and deep inner purpose. When you practice self-discipline, you're choosing to do what's right, even when no one is watching, even when there's no immediate reward. You're developing the core strength that keeps you grounded through chaos, your inner power. Stoicism teaches that anyone can live a good life as long as they live by reason, root their choices in ethics, and don't let emotions take over. That kind of life doesn't just happen. It requires daily training through small, consistent actions. Self-discipline is the tool that paves the way. By resisting impulsive desires, saying no to laziness, and staying true to the values you believe in, you're building both wisdom and courage, two virtues that Stoics hold above all else. Imagine a morning that doesn't begin in a rush. You wake up early while everything is still quiet. No scrolling through your phone, no hurried updates on the news. You choose to sit in stillness, meditating, taking deep breaths, and mentally preparing for the day ahead. Then you spend time reading, learning something meaningful, and moving your body, maybe with a run, a yoga session, or just a few gentle stretches. You eat a healthy breakfast, plan out your tasks, and remind yourself, don't let social media or fleeting emotions control your mind. It sounds simple, but living this way every day takes real discipline and commitment. Not to prove anything to anyone, but to keep yourself on track. Because if you don't take charge of your own mind, the world will do it for you with distractions, delays, pressure, and fear. And when that happens, you lose the most valuable thing you have, your inner freedom. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." It's one of the boldest declarations of discipline in all of Stoic thought. Freedom doesn't mean doing whatever you want. It means having the power to choose what's right and doing it, no matter the temptations or circumstances. When you can master your habits, your reactions, and your decisions, that's when you become truly free. And from that freedom comes calm. You're no longer dragged around by what's happening around you. Building self-discipline doesn't have to start with some dramatic life overhaul. Sometimes, it's as simple as saying no to something that wastes your time, or choosing silence over pointless arguments, or pausing to think instead of reacting instantly. Every small decision is a brick in the foundation of your inner strength. Do it enough times, and you become someone solid. Steady, someone whose mind stands firm even when the world shakes. And you know what's amazing? That kind of persistence, practiced through discipline, is what leads to inner peace. Not peace because the world around you is calm, but because you've learned how to be calm within yourself. When challenges hit, you don't panic. When failure strikes, you don't collapse. When others lose their temper, you keep your reason. Why? Because you've trained for it day by day, hour by hour through self-discipline. That's the Stoic spirit. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to become someone you deeply respect. Someone who stands tall in this world and never loses themselves. What do you think about training self-discipline in this age of endless distractions? What's the hardest part for you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. Lesson number 3. Accept challenges as opportunities for growth. How can someone stay calm when life keeps throwing challenges their way? How do you keep from falling apart when everything seems to be working against you? The answer lies in how we perceive adversity. Through the lens of Stoicism, hardship isn't a misfortune, it's a chance to grow. Challenges aren't reasons to give up. They're the conditions that forge inner strength. In an era where uncertainty has become the new normal, learning to embrace adversity as an essential part of life is more important than ever. Stoics believe that personal growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from confrontation. They don't seek smooth paths. They seek growth through friction. When faced with hardship, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a Stoic asks, "What can I learn from this situation?" It's in the moment we stop resisting and start observing, learning. That's when real inner strength begins to form. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king and one of the noblest symbols of Stoicism, faced challenges that would break most people. He didn't just rule a vast empire during times of war and plague. He also endured deep personal loss. But he never let those hardships drag him into despair. Instead, he used every difficulty as fuel to strengthen his soul. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That quote isn't just a comforting phrase. It's a complete shift in how we view failure. Taliban for publicly advocating girls' right to education. A bullet to the head nearly ended her young life. But the remarkable thing is this: Malala didn't choose hatred. She survived and rose not to retaliate, but to keep fighting for what was right. From a small village, she stood at the podium of the United Nations, becoming the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. What made Malala extraordinary wasn't the pain she endured, it was how she responded to it. With compassion, resilience, and unshakable moral clarity. Faced with hatred and fear, she chose education and peace. Malala is a modern embodiment of the Stoic spirit, unbroken by adversity, unwavering in identity, and deeply rooted in what's right. To build a moral compass that's strong, we must start with something simple, knowing what we believe in and staying true to it. It might be honesty in relationships, even when the truth hurts. It might be saying no to unethical behavior at work, even if it means losing a promotion. It might be standing up for someone vulnerable, even when it isolates us. Every small act, if it flows from inner values, is a step toward greater calm and resilience. because when you know who you are and what you stand for, you don't get shaken by judgment, failure, or hardship. A moral compass doesn't just help us tell right from wrong. It tells us what to do when everything around us is in disarray. It helps us choose action over reaction. It helps us preserve our dignity, even when the world loses its own. That's why Stoics don't see morality as something abstract, but as a tool for survival, as essential as a warrior's sword in the battlefield of the mind. Once you've built that solid framework, you'll find that calmness is no longer something you have to try to maintain. It flows naturally from within. Calm in the face of insult. Calm in the face of failure. Calm even in loss. Because you no longer live on the surface, but from the core. A moral core forged through time, through choices, and through those moments when you stood at the edge between collapse and integrity. Once that foundation is in place, you'll be ready to face the final lesson, where Stoicism reveals one of its ultimate secrets for living not just with strength, but with freedom, developing resilience through acceptance. But be warned, this lesson won't just test your intellect. It will test your heart. Are you ready? Lesson number 7. Build resilience through acceptance. Sooner or later, we all face unexpected upheavals, loss, failure, betrayal, or simply things not going the way we want. When those moments come, what determines whether we overcome them? It's not the situation itself, but how we respond to it. This is where Stoic philosophy offers profound guidance. Build resilience through acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It's a deliberate, proactive act, facing reality head-on, clearly identifying what's within our control and what isn't. A Stoic understands that resisting what cannot be changed only drains us. They choose instead to focus their energy on the one thing they truly have power over, their own response. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most prominent Stoic emperors and philosophers, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That quote is the key to understanding the power of acceptance. When we let go of the need to control everything, we don't become weaker, we become stronger. Because we're no longer tossed around by external changes, and our mind becomes the safest stronghold we have. Imagine someone suddenly loses their job. They could get angry, blame their boss, the economy, the whole world. But will that bring the job back? No. Or they could take a different route, accept that the job is gone, that the past can't be changed, but the future is still in their hands. Maybe this is a chance to explore a new direction, upgrade their skills, or start a passion project they once shelved. In what seemed like a failure, they find a turning point. It's in moments like these that acceptance allows us to see life differently, with fewer rigid expectations and more flexibility. From there, resilience becomes not just a vague ideal, but a practical life skill. When we're no longer clinging to fixed outcomes, we become lighter, calmer, and sharper in making the best choice for the moment we're in. Developing resilience through acceptance also means learning to shift our perspective. Instead of seeing difficulty as an obstacle, Stoics view it as a training ground. If someone insults you, don't explode, see it as a test of your composure. If a project fails, treat it as valuable data to do better next time. Every event, every stumble, is part of your growth if you choose to see it that way. Take another example, the COVID-19 pandemic. Millions were hit hard in health, in work, and in personal life. In that crisis, some were swept up in panic. but many others found clarity through Stoic wisdom. They accepted that some things are simply out of their hands, the virus, lockdowns, the global economy, and turned inward to take control of what they could, protecting their mental health, learning to work remotely, reconnecting with their core values. Not everyone came through unscathed, but those who embraced acceptance suffered the least damage. So we see, acceptance doesn't make us weak or passive. On the contrary, it makes us strong and adaptable. It gives us a solid foundation to handle whatever comes from life's biggest storms to its daily annoyances. And once you've trained yourself in the art of acceptance, you stop fearing change. You've built the inner strength to face whatever life throws at you. Staying calm isn't just empty advice, it becomes your natural reflex. A reflex born of a mind that accepts, adapts, and never backs down. Staying calm isn't easy, especially when life keeps throwing unexpected challenges our way. But as the Stoics taught us, it's not what happens that matters, it's how we respond that defines the outcome. When you learn to master your emotions, you're no longer a victim of circumstance. You become the one in control. Today's video is a reminder that calmness is not weakness. It's the strength of self-control. It's the foundation that allows you to handle whatever life throws at you. So, how about you? Have there been moments when staying calm helped you handle a situation better? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear real experiences from you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss future content. And check out the video at the end. It might be exactly what you need right now. Thanks for watching. Every obstacle is not a dead end, but a part of the path itself. When we suffer, we learn patience. When we fall, we learn humility. When everything collapses, we gain a clearer sense of what truly matters. Stoicism teaches us that life shouldn't be judged by what happens to us, but by how we respond to what happens. And the best response is not to complain or run away. It's to accept calmly and intentionally. When you learn to see challenges as opportunities, you become less shaken by disruption. Someone who loses their job no longer sees themselves as useless, but recognizes the moment as a chance to reassess their value and begin a new chapter. Someone who fails in business doesn't see it as the end, but as a hard-earned lesson for future resilience. Someone who experiences loss doesn't have to drown in endless sorrow. They can learn appreciation and the power of letting go. In every situation, what matters most isn't what happened, it's who you become because of it. Calmness, in the Stoic sense, isn't emotional numbness or detachment. It's the result of disciplined thinking, the mindset of accepting reality as it is, without resistance, without judgment. Only when we reach that kind of calm can we act with true clarity. A Stoic doesn't run from emotion, they simply refuse to be ruled by it. They acknowledge pain, but they don't let it define them. They understand that in the ever-changing current of life, the person who can remain steady is the one with true strength. So, when you face your next challenge, whether it's a personal failure, a life crisis, or just a really hard day, remember, you're being handed a chance to grow. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "What stands in your way today may become the reason you're stronger tomorrow." And if you can learn to stay calm in those moments, then truly, you can handle anything. Lesson number 4. Cultivate gratitude. In the most difficult moments of life, we often get caught in a whirlwind of disappointment, anger, and helplessness. A sense of lack of opportunity, of fairness, of love becomes a distorted lens through which we see the world as deeply flawed. But the Stoics don't view life that way. They don't try to force circumstances to bend to their will. They learn to change themselves to live in harmony with what is. One of the most powerful tools they use to do that is gratitude. Gratitude might sound simple, but in reality, it's a practice that demands consistency and inner depth. Not everyone can smile in the face of hardship and say, "I'm grateful for this." But to the Stoic, gratitude isn't reserved for the good things. It's extended to challenges too. Because it is in hardship that our true nature is forged. When life doesn't go our way, gratitude keeps us from turning bitter or falling into self-pity. It steadies the mind, keeping us from becoming arrogant in success or devastated in failure. The Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This wasn't an empty affirmation, it was a way of life. In the eyes of Marcus Aurelius, a ruler who faced war, plagues, and loss, simply waking up to a new day was already a gift. Just think, you breathed this morning without effort. You're reading these words right now, which means you have intellect, a functioning body, and the opportunity to learn. Isn't that something to be grateful for? Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we have, not to obsess over what we lack. That doesn't mean we give up on our goals or stop striving, but as we move forward, we remember how fortunate we already are. A bed to sleep in, a cup of morning coffee, sunlight streaming through the window. These are simple things, but full of meaning if we stop to notice. Building the habit of writing down what we're grateful for each day helps the mind learn to look for the beautiful, the sufficient, and the good in life. From that, a sense of inner peace begins to grow. Gratitude is also a way of connecting with God, the one who created and sustains this world, even if it's not perfect by our standards. When we express gratitude, we're not just thankful for people, objects, or situations. We're acknowledging something greater than ourselves. You may not follow any religion, but you can still recognize that some things lie beyond human control or understanding, and that humility softens the heart, loosening its grip in times of adversity. The Stoics didn't pray for an easier life. They prayed for the strength to endure challenges. But when that strength is combined with faith in God, we gain more than just resilience. We gain spiritual support. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it makes the burden feel lighter because we no longer feel alone in this chaotic world. In the end, gratitude doesn't change the world, but it changes how you walk through it. When you choose to be grateful, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the master of your mind. And as Stoicism has emphasized for thousands of years, tranquility comes from within. It does not depend on anything outside of you. If you've ever tried to practice gratitude or are currently struggling to stay calm, share your thoughts in the comments. Your honest reflections could be a source of encouragement for others and for yourself as well. Lesson number 5. Practice mindfulness and live in the present. After a horseback riding accident in 1995, actor Christopher Reeve, widely known for his role as Superman, became paralyzed from the neck down. For many, such a life-altering event could easily crush both spirit and will to live. But Reeve chose a different path. Instead of drowning in despair over the past or fearing an uncertain future, he learned how to be fully present in the moment he had. Reeve once said, "A man does not define himself by what he cannot do, but by what he chooses to do." That statement is nothing short of a modern Stoic manifesto, declaring that what matters is not the circumstances, but how we respond to them. He continued to engage in social activism, established a foundation for spinal cord injury research, and became a source of inspiration for millions. Even though he could no longer move his body, Reeve mastered his mind by living each day with calm, acceptance, and resilience. That's Stoicism in real life. Stoic philosophy, dating back thousands of years, emphasized this truth. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." That line isn't just casual advice, it's a way of living. By keeping our minds from drifting into things we can't control, like past mistakes or future fears, we make space for clarity, calm, and right action. The modern tool that helps us embody this Stoic mindset is mindfulness. When we focus on our breath, feel the sun on our skin, or hear the sound of our footsteps on the ground, the mind breaks free from the spiral of worry. Every present moment, no matter how small, becomes a chance to live fully and reconnect with ourselves. In today's world, we're constantly pulled into distraction, phone notifications, packed schedules, racing thoughts. We chase distant goals and rarely pause to ask, "Am I really here in this moment?" Stoic philosophy invites us to do just that. Not to escape reality, but to face it with awareness and without judgment. One of the simplest ways to practice this is to focus on your breath. Whether you're in an elevator, washing dishes, or walking, you can bring your attention back to your breathing. In doing so, you're no longer swept away by the what-ifs of the future or the should-haves of the past. What remains is you here and now. And in that presence, calm begins to emerge. Calmness isn't the absence of emotion, but the refusal to be ruled by it. A mindful person isn't someone who avoids hardship. They're someone who doesn't let outside chaos disrupt their inner peace. Remember, Stoicism doesn't ask us to be indifferent to life. On the contrary, it calls us to engage more deeply with every moment, with both reason and heart. Living in the present not only helps us face challenges better, it also helps us notice the beautiful things we often overlook. A warm glance, a sudden laugh, or simply the feeling of breathing. Practicing mindfulness and living in the now is how we cultivate calm, which Stoicism sees as the foundation of wisdom and happiness. As Marcus Aurelius emphasized, everything you need to live well is already in the present moment. When we're fully present, we not only learn how to stay grounded, we gradually become unshakable. Lesson number 6. Develop a strong moral compass. In a world full of turbulence, where values can be easily distorted by social pressure, greed, and fear, staying calm is not just an emotional state. It's the result of a deep inner strength, rooted in something quiet, yet immensely powerful, a moral compass. In Stoicism, developing a clear moral framework isn't just an option, it's the foundation for living rightly, sufficiently, and meaningfully. The Stoics believed that to face all kinds of turmoil and still remain composed, a person must hold tightly to virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. These virtues are like the 4 cardinal directions of a compass. They keep us from losing our way in emotional storms or the chaos of the external world. Calmness doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means putting reason first, so our actions are guided by what's right, not what's easy. Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This quote is more than a call to action. It's a wake-up call about how we often get lost in theory and debate instead of living true to what we believe. Marcus wasn't urging us to be perfect. He simply wanted us to stop making excuses and start living rightly day by day, choice by choice, action by action. When morality becomes a lived practice, not just a slogan, that's when our inner world truly stabilizes. A vivid example of the power of a moral compass in our modern era is Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistani girl who stunned the world. At just 15, Malala was shot by the Taliban.